Welcome back to Material Girls Long Arm Quilting. I just thought I'd do a final talk through about this navy Elsie Stars quilt. If you recall, I named it Elsie Stars because that was the name of the person that sewed the top, or most of the top anyways. She was my great-grandmother, and I thought I would just go through and talk about the patterns that I selected for the different areas of the quilt. So on the borders, I did these really neat stars, and they're done in a variegated blue thread. I use King Tut for a lot of my top threads just because I think it does a really nice job. And the stars, I think, really complement what the quilt has. And then for these pieced blocks, I used a really neat kind of florally block pattern, and again in that variegated blue thread, and it just kind of flattened them, and it has a dense enough pattern that it will hold down all the different pieces, because some of the fabrics in this quilt are very fragile, being close to 100 years old, and I'm sure they were from clothing that was used at the time, and some of them were used to death, and so they're a little more fragile than our newer fabrics. So I did something that would hold it down really good and keep it from moving. And then, because this 8-pointed star actually has a pattern for it, I took that pattern and put it into the plain-ish blocks, the ones that have no piecing in them. And I used an off-white thread to complement the stars in the fabric. So that's what I did for this one. Part of the reason I picked what I picked also is research. I had gone into what these kind of quilts used originally at that time period for designs for quilting them, and a lot of times they had stars or hearts or something very geometric. So that's why, another reason I picked these patterns is they looked very period-like, and the echoing of the pattern in these plainer blocks was something that I thought was really appropriate for them. So this is my finished Elsie Stars quilt, and I would love to work with you and do something very appropriate for your own quilt if that's something you're looking for. And I hope you've enjoyed learning about this vintage quilt and what I've done with it. See you again soon.